Peace. I am Joy, the prosperity coach of Whole with Joy. First, today was our launch day, so I invite you to check us out online, check out the website, and see the different offerings that will be beginning on September 15th. I'm really hoping to connect with folks in different ways and building this movement around healing and reimagining prosperity. And so as a prosperity coach, I work with individuals to help them learn how to reconnect with their bodies, how to reclaim and learn how to trust again, or maybe even for the first time, the wisdom in their bodies, and to trust their voice and to use their voice and to cultivate inner prosperity through different practices that help people learn how to tune in to what is happening on the inside. So today I was working with a client who is holding a lot of distress around a romantic relationship. She was talking about how her heart and her head are misaligned, like they are not connecting. And she was really struggling. She was like, when I'm with this person, I leave and I'm not really feeling anything. And then before she knew it, she was finding herself like in this spiral around feeling really bad about not feeling anything. Can that relate to anyone here of like where somewhere deep down inside you knew it wasn't it, like it felt off, but still you worked really hard to make something happen for whatever reason it may be, even though your body was telling you what your truth was. But so many of us learn to, especially women and folks who, like when it comes to societal like ills and issues, many folks who have been oppressed, like we have learned how to override like what our bodies really want. And even as children, so many of us have learned not to trust what lives inside. And so in adulthood, if we're lucky, we find ourselves relearning how to trust ourselves and again reconnect with our bodies and really listen to and trust have faith in the intelligence that's here. And so this is just someone who is all of us, right? Like this beautiful client that I was supporting. And so I wanted to offer to you an exercise that I offered to her in hopes that it may help you in moments of where you're feeling overwhelmed by, your head is telling you one thing, even though your body is saying something different. And how do you bring yourself back into a place of quiet and of stillness enough of where you can really just check in with what the body is saying and go from there. She was dealing with a lot of fear and anxiety around making the wrong decision. So I asked her, I said, when you are having these thoughts, when you're hearing these stories, what do you notice in your body? And she said, I'm feeling a lot of distress, discomfort, anxiety in my gut. We were outside, but like outside is always a great place to be able to really come back to our true nature and to our bodies. And so I invited her to take off her shoes. I said, okay, take off your shoes. And I said, as you take off your shoes, like allow your feet to ground into the earth. I said, now rub your feet back and forth and just feel the support of the earth. Then I invited her to take a moment and to look around her. I said, what do you notice? All of this, there's the trees, hear the sounds, like all this life around you. What do you notice? And then she reflected back the things that she saw and she noticed. And what she came to realize in that moment was, that for one, things are not always as big as it can feel. And when we allow ourselves to slow down and get still, we can come back to that knowing. But there was something in nature that reminded her of the change and growth cycle, that things are always dying and being reborn again, and how that offers a lot of growth potential. And I asked her, so, now that you've been able to breathe into some stillness and breathe into just a moment of just pause, a sacred pause of connecting with yourself. How does that feel now? What do you notice? And she said, it feels a lot calmer. Like I can feel the steadiness of something. It's like, that is your inner knowing. And that's the practice, right? Like for so long, so many of us have been taught to override the intelligence of this. And so when you are feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling like your mind and your heart are at war, that is your cue to find a place where you can pause, ideally somewhere like here, and allowing yourself to be held by the earth or held by a structure, and really breathing into that moment of pause, and allow yourself to really feel into what's there. And sometimes we have to pull out of like what's happening on the inside and seeing what's around us, what we hear, like really engaging the senses, and then coming back to yourself and allowing yourself to make decisions, because you can, in that place of steadiness, from that place of steadiness. And so one of the things that I invited her to chew on, I'm gonna also invite you to chew on. Have faith in yourself, and remember that your body knows. It is very wise and is just waiting for you to take the moment to slow down a little bit, to breathe and connect, and remember that all you have and all that you need is right here. Let me know what you think of this practice. Let me know if you tried it for yourself, and how it supported you. Again, I would love to see you and to have you check out the work at Whole with Joy. Until the next time, peace.